The consequence of my thriving fantasy is that I eventually have to deliver on that. Back in my first video, I boldly announced that sailing is a core mechanic to my game, and that the toughest mode of how you handle a ship is simulated. Now, the other settings are a lot more easygoing. Arcade is just like your typical driving, and light is a more stylish arcade mode. But simulated means simulated. I've no idea how sailing works in the real world. But I teased that to you, and now I should deliver something at least akin to a simulation. Or else I worry people assume that the game is way over ambitious and I'm here to scam for money in the end because I can't even deliver a core feature. But where exactly do I start? I mean, at this point in time I'm making a cozy farming/merchanting adventure RPG, and you're supposed to travel from place to place to trade resources and extend or repair your port. The cozy in that sentence is pretty important, because with that we are talking about a fluid, easy-ish gameplay mechanic and not a real-life checklist simulator. So what do we even simulate then? I think that ultimately we have control over the sail and the rudder of any given ship. That will serve as the starting point of implementing the simulation, and also serves as the only input we can give to a simulation. In the last devlog I talked about the floating bodies I put into the game. Turns out they don't work, which is noticeable if you're working under specific conditions. So with that out the window, how do we get the ship floating in the first place? Based on research, we got the center of gravity and the center of buoyancy. They're both different points on an object and act similar to a pivot. If you ever wondered why physics objects in Unity don't rotate around the transform point, this is why. A rigid body uses the center of gravity. Buoyancy is the force that pushes anything to the water's surface. If gravity and buoyancy are equally strong, the object stops. How far into the water something has to sink before it stops is based on the material, its density and volume. But in the end, this all just affects where the water line on the ship is. I mean, I would get into some awkward guesswork of how much volume your ship holds and what density the wood has by itself, and then additionally when it's wet by the sea and when it's raining, you have to keep the cargo in mind and obviously the player character. Alternatively though, so I say here's good enough. Let's keep it simple. It's just a waterline for now, and it's based on an improved version of the floating body system. They sample the wave height on fixed points around the ship and then simply return a median height and a normal. Based on how far they're submerged, they're going to push the ship out of the water. And that's actually simulated buoyancy. Something goes into the water because gravity, water pushes up because buoyancy, and thing will float because equal forces. Easy. All that to make our ship float. Okay, let's pump it up now, we don't got all day. Sail is next. First, we import the sail. Second, looks weird. Third, fix animation. Great success. Loading the ship took way too long. This will not. Next, make a shape key. Fifth, do material. Blend it. We're getting somewhere. Sail works. We need to get a heading. The wind. If it comes from the back, we're moving forward. Yeah, and if it comes from the side, we're still moving forward. And if it comes from the front, we're getting a negative factor, and the wind is a negative factor, so we're driving forward. Shit. Okay, so if the sail looks this way and the wind comes from here, we are moving forward. And if the sail looks this way and the wind comes from here, we're driving backwards, but we should be going forward. That means I need to remap it about so. Wait, no, that's not going anywhere. That doesn't make any sense. I can't remap it that way. I probably need a cross product for this. And then it's left and right combined with the dot product for front and back. And this does... It does not work. If you ever feel stupid, remember I wasted 2 days figuring this out by my own, to a point where I legitimately thought I would ask a sailing instructor. Over there. That's the best sailing instructor I have here. I'll do it the smart way now. And look, it's easy. And I almost got it right by my own. There was just one trajectory missing, and it's the wind that is created by your movement. The breeze you feel on your face when riding a bicycle, or when you're running, or when you're on a ship moving. That already counts as wind, and the faster you go, the stronger it gets. And this particular wind is called headwind. Together with the true wind, that's the one everybody simply knows as wind. Together with the true wind, they create the apparent wind. And it is this apparent wind you need to put your sail in to get your ship moving. So how do you calculate in which direction the apparent wind blows? Easy. Just do vector math. Or of course we can take an element from real sailing and put it into the game as well. What's that, you might ask? It's called a Verklicker in German. The English name is long, but with that helper in the game, the only thing left you need to know is how to sail. Oh wait, the rudder is still missing. I mean, of course. Well, with my newly learned superpowers. And that's the legitimate story how I got the hardest sailing mode you can choose into the game. If you want to try it yourself, there's a feature build available. It's a freebie because feature builds and builds in general are usually reserved for Patreon. I recently changed the reward so that everyone gets a free copy of the game, depending on which tier they are supporting and for how long they keep supporting. So that even mateys don't feel left out when it comes to the big release, they just get a bit longer to get there. And one last thing, if you want the development notes of this video's topic and a couple more, then please consider supporting me. I know everybody's saying this, but it really helps me out since I'm funding the game out of pocket. With that being done, thanks for watching. See ya.